Hi there, today we are reviewing the book of Ezra that records the events of two groups of Jews as they returned back to Jerusalem from a life of exile in Babylon, which they had been there for over 70 years. It's understood that most, if not all, of the book of Ezra was written by Ezra himself, and particularly in chapters 8 to 10 we read about Ezra, who led the second wave of people back to Jerusalem. It's really important that as the people of Israel who had chosen to return back to Jerusalem and restart their lives again, that they returned to the ways that God had instructed them to live. After all, their inheritance is that they are the children of God. They are God's chosen people. But with that wonderful promise and privilege does come certain rules and conditions as to how they should and shouldn't live. Now, in the book of beginning of Ezra, we read of the first wave of people who returned and the problems that they encountered. In the book of Isaiah, it was prophesied that Jerusalem would be rebuilt and how it was going to happen. These people were now fulfilling that prophecy. But just because it was prophesied, it doesn't mean it would be easy. They had many setbacks. They had people who did not want them to be in that land. And some people also were struggling without having to be there. They had to gather many items in order to rebuild the walls and to rebuild the temple, including things like stone and wood and various precious gems in order to rebuild the temple. It was a huge task that they had chosen to be part of. Following God's plans doesn't mean it's an easy ride, and sometimes it can be very difficult. God may call you for a specific task, but that doesn't mean it will be straightforward or easy. But just like the Israelites, God will be faithful to you in that task as long as you keep focused on Him. At the end of the book of Ezra, Ezra is keen to ensure that the people follow God's clear rules. He knew that in the past, ignoring God's rules had resulted in pain, in hurt, and also in exile. He was determined that they make a clean, fresh start. And any of the bad habits that they had picked up whilst in exile, they leave behind. Just like the Israelites, God wants us to be Christians, to be a special people, clearly identified as His and set apart for Him. Let's try today, as we live our Christian lives, that we maintain and we are going to be special for Him.